Hey guys, James here, Homebrew Happy Hour. We on the podcast had talked about doing an overnight mash. So this is what we're going to do right now. Got a simple Pilsner recipe. It's 28 pounds of Pilsner malt and 1.5 pounds of Carapils. I mashed my Pilsner at 150, so we did a 156 is where the mash is at right now. It just jumped to one. It varies. So anyway, we should be able to stir this in because we're 70 degrees in the room. We're actually showing 68 on the wall. But let's just say 70. That's a good guesstimate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir these grains in, mix it up really good, shut the lid, turn the controller off. A couple of details. 11 gallons of water, and that gives us right at a 1.5 to 1 water to grain ratio, which I like on the Brautag because it promotes good circulation. Go a little higher, and I have, but for the most part, 1.5 to 1 is perfect for what we do, and that's what I use when I brew. And so, as you can see, we've got our HLT going. Mash is ready. And we won't need the bowl pot till tomorrow. Hopefully this turns out real good. We're gonna see what happens. And like I said, this is just a simple grain bill. Not a lot to it, but it seems to work pretty good as a Pilsner. I like to stir it up real good so we don't have any dough balls. Because you can tell too that it's still circulating pretty good. Almost there. One more to go. Give it a quick stir. And this flows really good, so I've never really had any issues with dough balls. And it's got a fairly large false bottom area. And the false bottom is elevated off the bottom of the kettle, so it seems to promote for better flow. Mix this up real good. In fact, you know what I'm going to use? I use this for mixing in. I use this for stirring in. So I'm going to mix it up real good. Just want to get it all mixed in really nice and well. Because we are going to shut this off, close it up, cover it up. And since there won't be any circulation, it's going to want to settle to the bottom of the false bottom. And I just want to make sure it's hydrated all the way through. And that should do it. There we go. Another good stir all the way around. Circulating really well. Okay. Now, we're going to turn the wort pump off, water pump off, HLT off, controller off. Seal it up. We'll see it in the morning. Keep our fingers crossed.
A few moments later.
It's the next day. We're here. And it was what I thought. Take a look. See if you can guess what's going on here. Yep, that's lacto. So I think we're about to make a sour. So what I'm gonna do to kind of mitigate this is I'm going to skim as much of this off the top before I do circulation, because I am going to sparge it. The sparge water's heating up right now. We're going to go through with this, whether we like it or not, because Josh and I talked earlier about maybe dumping the whole thing, but that wouldn't be fair to you guys. we're gonna go through with this mess. All right, I've got most of this skimmed off. So I'm gonna go ahead and let the sparge water heat up. We're gonna run it through into the boil kettle. Stay tuned, see what happens. I got my fingers crossed. Well, you know what? It's looking pretty good. I'm getting a little optimistic now. I know I kind of sounded like I didn't think this was going to work to begin with. Skimmed, like I said earlier, I skimmed all that off the top of the grain bed, turned it on. We've got good fermentation. We have good sugars, excuse me. 1070 is what we had on the refractor, and it's condensed. It's not thinned out in the boil pot, but it's super clear. We've got a good grain bed. I don't taste anything out of the ordinary, so man, I'm looking optimistic on this. We'll have to wait and see. Can't wait to try it when it's done. All right, it's done. It still needs to clarify a little bit. So we've had some cold weather. We ran out of electricity for almost 2 days. So, wow, it's pretty good. I'm a believer in it. It's got a good crisp taste. No off flavors at all. And Josh, you tried it. You agree? Man, that worked. I think skimming off the top helped too. So would I do this in the future? Maybe. But my thinking is, I know my brew day. I know how long it takes to brew. It takes me about 4 or 5 hours. What I normally do is I heat everything up the night before and shut everything off. That way it doesn't take as long to heat up the next day. But it works. Overnight mash, we shut her down at 150 and it sat all night. Now, from the earlier in the video, you saw my reaction when I saw the lacto on top. Wasn't really expecting it to turn out as good as it did. So yeah, I think it'll work. So if that's something you want to do to break your brew day up, definitely do it. It's it's not for me, but it may be for you in your situation. But wow, you guys, first is pressure fermentation, now it's overnight mashing. So some things are worth trying.